What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today I'm going to bring you through an unorthodox type of video. So I signed up to a coach back in December of 2025, the end of December 2025, with the goal of putting on some muscle. So usually with a muscle building phase, it usually is preceded with a fat loss phase, just to get you lean enough so that you'll have a productive gaining phase. Because in a gaining phase, you're going to be gaining muscle, but you're also going to be gaining fat. So it's better off having a longer run at the gaining phase than it is to start in a position that's not so favourable and then trying to push your weight up and your muscle up, because things can get sloppy very, very quickly. So the start of the video today is just going to show you where I started in December, where I finished last week in the end of July, and where I potentially am looking to get to and to be better than. Okay, so this is on my Instagram page at the moment, and this is the post that I made for my progress. So I started at 83 kilos on the 29th of December. Now, as you can see here, not too bad body composition wise, but I suppose you'd always want to be a little bit better, and you'd probably never be exactly happy with what you have. But at that moment and at this moment, I'm very content with what I have. So as you can see here, I started on 29th of December at 83 kilos, and I finished my gaining phase 7 months later at 86.5. So a gain of 3.5 kilos from where I started. But there is obvious, to me anyway, obvious muscle growth after taking place. But this is where I started in December, but this is not where I started my gaining phase. This is the position I found myself in. I had to start off then doing a fat loss phase. I did it for 5 weeks. I took off 4 kilos, and here I am right now. Now the picture is a bit offset to this one. I do apologize about that. This is actually cropped. This is where it was taken from, and I couldn't actually fix it. I couldn't uncrop it, so you can't actually see my legs. But as you can see here, I started at 83 kilos, slightly softer, to more of a detailed physique there at 79 kilos. And from 79 kilos then, I done 6 months of a gaining phase, or 27 weeks, should I say, and I ended up here. Now, from where I was at 83 kilos to where I was at 86, you can see obvious leg muscle growth. Now I'm 6 foot tall, so to put mass on legs is a decent feat. So I'm very, very happy with that. I actually wanted most of this mass to go on my arms, but things weren't that way. But what I'm going to explain to you now momentarily with my new program is that it's going to be favouring the arms over the prep period. And I do think when you get that lock-in effect of prep, you can still put on muscle while losing fat, and it is actually being proven now that you can actually put on muscle in a negative energy balance. But obviously you wouldn't be as productive if you had more energy, I suppose. So obviously I do think my chest has gotten bigger, my back, my shoulders have gotten wider, my arms actually definitely have got bigger, I know that, but you can't really tell from the front. With my arms, they have to be flexed and out to the side. So, and the shoulders, like, you even look at the body composition, I haven't let my body composition slip that much from here, but yet I am much bigger. So I'm looking forward to cutting this weight off. But this is where I ended up then. This is where the cut finished, 79 kilos, and this is where I finished on my gaining phase. This is where I am around now. This is my back development after the cut. So this is the cut, and then this is my back development. Now I am retracting my shoulder blades, I suppose, a little bit more there. My arms are flared out to the side a little bit more. As you can see, my triceps start very high up my arm. So, all in all, my triceps aren't going to be ever that big. And my lats actually start very high up my back as well. So when it comes to bodybuilding, I'm never going to be competitive, but I am still going to try build my body, and that's the main point. From the side then, you can see the obvious tricep growth. So triceps are essentially popping more even though I'm actually heavier, and my delts, I would say, are more developed even though I'm heavier. Chest looks much more broader as well. But the pictures are offset again just because I took them incorrectly. It's not to try trick you. Now that's where I am right now, and I'm going to go back here just to give you one last look. That's where I am right now, 86.5. Now, if I show you where I was in my photo shoot, this is my photo shoot from May 2025, and I actually loved this physique, but I was very skin and bones in clothes, and I was 76.5 doing this photo shoot. So if I have gained muscle from my gaining phase, I should be doing the next photo shoot heavier than 76.5, ideally somewhere 78.5, 79. I would love it. And this is my first gaining phase, so I would be able to put on a bit more muscle than people who would be much more advanced at it, but my muscle building genetics aren't that great either. So someone who is more advanced probably could put on 2.5, 3 kilos of muscle and laugh at my 2.5 or 3 kilo optimism as a intermediate. So that's where I'm starting from in my photo shoot prep, and this is where I'd like to get to, but improved, more muscle in the right areas. Now, so this is the setup I have with all my own clients. So I'm going to take myself through the process that I take my own clients. Now, I had done a photo shoot with a coach before. A few unforeseen circumstances have occurred over the last few months that has caused me to, I suppose, believe in myself more and go for this myself. I do know I am going to be able to take this photo shoot prep myself. I don't see many coaches being able to do this, and I do know that a lot of these photo shoot transformations that you see is because a person is obedient and not disciplined. Obedience is where you'll follow the plan, you'll follow the master. Master, please help me, And once the master is gone, the obedience is gone, and the person has no foundations to fall back on. So I'm trying to use this as a mark of my expertise to be able to take myself through a photo shoot prep, and at least if it fails, I'll be at least have tried. So it's better to have tried than to not try at all. So this is the process I take my own clients through. Obviously, names. I'm starting on Monday, which is a week away from today. Today is Monday the 3rd. I'm starting on Monday the 10th. I'm 37. I'm 183 centimeters, which is 6 foot tall. And the phase I'm going into is preparation phase. It's not just a little fat loss phase. Preparation phase is different than fat loss phase. Preparation phase is militant. Fat loss is, it can go anyway. My check-in day will be Sunday if my start date is on Monday. Now, here are the metrics that I'm going to be using for my photo shoot prep. I already have them in here. So when I done my first 5 weeks of a cut with my own coach, when I done the 5 weeks of a cut before the gaining phase, I was eating 2,300 calories and I was losing roughly 0.8 or 0.9 of a kilo each week. So what that would mean is that I was potentially in somewhere around 800 to 900 calorie deficit, because the calories in hundreds match the decimal places of the rate of loss. So if you were losing 0.8 of a kilo, you're in an 800 calories deficit. If you're using 0.9 of a kilo, you're in a 900 calorie deficit. Now this will be played out over time. It won't be played out in 1 week. You'll at least have to have 2, if not 3, 4, 5, 6 obvious weeks to show you rate of loss on average, to show you how much of a calorie deficit you might be in. But because I've done this work before and I have all these details, I know that if I'm 86.5 kilos, if I want to lose 0.865 of a kilo a week of fat, it's different than weight now, of fat, I will need to be in an 865 calorie deficit. And that's what I was in previously on that 5 week fat loss phase before I went into the gaining phase. So I'm going to go straight in at that 2,300 calories. Now, I'd only need to be eating roughly 2 grams of protein per kilogram of ideal body weight. So my ideal body weight would be around 80 kilos if I'm doing this photo shoot. So I'm going to eat 160 grams of protein. Now, you only need to eat half a gram to a gram of fat per kilogram of weight in order for you to stay in a healthy range. Now, usually I favour the lower fat approach, so I won't be having the 1 gram per kilogram of weight, which will be 80, just say. But I do know I find it hard to keep fats under control, and I do like to have fats in there, because the last time I done my photo shoot prep, my eyes and everything went dry. Like I was getting dry eyes because I didn't have enough dietary fat as well as body fat to keep my eyes lubricated and your joints and stuff and your hormones regulated. So I think 60 grams is a good place to go in with my fats, and then whatever's left over is carbohydrates, which will be 280 grams of carbs. So that's where I'm starting, and obviously I'll be trying to hit this every day, to plus or minus 5 calories. But if I want to bank calories or anything like that for an event coming up, I'll be aiming for 16,100 calories on average across the whole week, which will be this times 7. And I'll be drinking at least 3 litres of water a day, maximum 4 litres, probably about 3 because the summer is over now. I'll be aiming for 10,000 steps a day, and that'll be from a structured walk. Structured walks are way more effective at fat loss than just me here with my hand and I have 900 steps and I'm moving my hands around like this. That's not steps. You know, a structured walk is steps. So most of my 10,000 steps will be coming from a structured walk. If I don't get my 10,000 every day, I'll be getting my 70,000 at the end of the week. Because there's one day during the week that I spend an awful lot of time on the computer. I do a food shop. I look after the child on a Saturday. I look after the child every day, but Saturday I kind of have the majority of it because she gets dropped into me when I'm working, and I take over for the day on Saturday until we meet up again as a family in the evening time. So yeah, I'm behind the computer all day is what I'm trying to say. If I look at my averages and they're not up to scratch, I'll be making a big effort to get the 70,000 per week. If my averages are up to scratch and I'm well exceeded, I don't need to do the steps. That's how I will do that. And I'm going to do 3 structured cardio sessions at 30 minutes each. I think this actually will be enough for me to keep my stress down, keep my sleep good, and get this rate of loss easily, rather than what I was doing on my last photo shoot. At one point I was up to 3 hours at the end of cardio a week. I was doing 14,000 steps every day, which is taking me about 2.5 hours to just walk. When I done the last fat loss phase, I got down to 79 kilos, and I was doing this type of activity. I was actually doing less cardio. I was doing 80 minutes, 2 40-minute sessions, and I got down to 79 kilos, and I found it very, very easy. Now, so what kind of a split am I going to follow? I am actually going to follow a push, pull, legs and arm split. And on my days off, I'm going to have some active recovery, which will be cardio. Now, cardio will be done at a zone 2 level. I'll wear my heart rate monitor for this one going forward because I want to make sure I see improvements in that. I will see it when I start to lose body fat anyway. Your resting heart rate will lower and your HRV should climb. But I'm going to wear my heart rate monitor, just make sure that I'm keeping myself in that zone 2 zone. And I'm going to be using an assault bike for it, not at fast pace, at leisurely pace, leisurely. And just the assault bike is more of a total body training cardio equipment, and so is a cross trainer, as opposed to a treadmill, as opposed to a bike. It's all heavy legs. Now, what is the rationale behind me using the push, pull, legs and arm split? Because I don't particularly like that split. I actually wanted to do an arms, legs, upper off arms program, but what I found was that from my training over the years, I found that it's important to take a day off after you do legs. You know, if any of you done legs to a higher degree, you will know how fucked legs makes you that day, but even the next day, okay? But I would be doing arms, lower, and then upper, a day off, and then arms again. And I was like, no, this is not going to cut it. That's not going to cut it as a program for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do pull, push. Sorry, it's not push, pull legs. It's pull, push legs and arms. And the reason why is I'm going to include biceps on the pull day, triceps on the push day, and biceps and triceps in the arms day. So my frequency for arms will essentially be 2, not 3, because there'll be biceps on one day and biceps and triceps in the arms day, and then there'll be triceps on another day and triceps and biceps in the arm day. So that's a frequency of 2. But I think when I lock in, I should be able to grow my arms a little bit more across the program, while also keeping my fatigue levels down and maintaining the muscles in all the rest of the part of the body handily enough, because I'll be hitting them quite hard with specific pull, push and legs day. Now, the reason I have a pull, push, legs program instead of push, pull, legs program is because I'm going to include some hamstring exercises in my pull day. And if I do push, pull, legs, I'll be doing hamstrings on day 2 and hamstrings on day 3. That's not a sensible way to do your hamstring training, because you'll need a rest. If you've ever done hamstrings to a high degree, you'll know how sore sometimes your hamstrings can get. You're going to need a day's rest in between. Now, I even think that this might not be enough rest between the hamstrings, and I'll have to monitor the volume I'm doing on them on the pull day in order to make sure I'm doing it effectively on the leg day. But either way, that is why I have a pull push legs and arms program, and the frequency I'm going to be hitting arms is twice per week, and the frequency I'm going to be hitting my pull, push and legs exercises, which would be chest, shoulders, upper back, lats and your legs, will be once a week. That'll help me maintain those muscles while I hopefully grow my arms with a little bit more volume and a little bit more frequency. Now, this is the timeline feature I run with all my own clients, and this is kind of what I have kind of mapped out. I wanted to do the photo shoot at the end of November, which is where my missus's birthday is. We can go away for a weekend as well for that, or the start of December. I'm going to make a decision on a photographer after this week, because my missus is doing her own photo shoot, and I'm going to talk to her photographer. He says he has no space, but I'm going to see what his spaces are like over December. So that's this week. I'm going to be talking to him on Thursday. So I'm not going to book a photographer just yet, but I'm looking at a peak week sometimes around the 30th of November. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a sprint, a rest, a sprint, and then from here I'm going to like either pick in a rest, or I'm going to, depending on where I'm at, I'm going to sprint even further. I might do prep for a couple more weeks, maybe until Halloween, just say, and then I might do a maintenance phase at Halloween. You know, that's how you could structure your things. But this is what I do for my own clients. I map it out for them so they know where they are and know what they're supposed to do and know where they're looking to go. Now, on the daily tracker then, what things I'll be tracking is my morning weight, my calories, my protein, my carbs, fats, fibre, water, my hunger levels, any off-plan meals just to keep myself accountable, number of stools, which is very important, because if I'm not going to the toilet, I'm not detoxifying estrogen, and I could be fucking causing myself negative hormonal consequences there. My steps to keep an eye on the average, my cardio to keep an eye on the 90 minutes, my resistance training to make sure I'm doing all my training and keep myself accountable using the same process I take my own clients through, which I think is an authentic way to do things, and especially because I'm doing it myself. You know, I'm going to show people that what I do with my clients and what I do with myself works, and I'm going to have the proof as in the pudding right here. Sleep duration and sleep quality, that's really, really important. Energy, stress, signs of illness, rest and heart rate and recovery. HRV will be a recovery marker. It is heart rate variability, but it is actually measuring your nervous system rather than your heart, really. And blood pressure, hugely important for health, and it is also it will get lower when I get leaner. That's for, and same with the rest and heart rate. So if you ever want to improve your heart, get leaner. So that is how I'm going to be tracking things, and I'm going to be tracking it over a 16 or 17 week period. And now my training. So this is the crux of the program here. I have my pull day, and my push day, I have my legs day, and I have my arms day, right? So on the pull day, I am going to be doing, I'm going to be doing a chest supported T-bar row. Now, the chest supported T-bar row, it does suck the life out of you because the chest pad is pushing right into you. But I'm going to do one set. I do find my upper back is very developed already. And I want to favour more of the smaller muscles, because if I don't bring up those areas, I'm going to look the same as I did on my last photo shoot. So I'm going to be doing one set of a chest supported T-bar row. I'm going to do 2 sets of D-handle pull downs. I was going to do single arm pull down. Single arm pull downs usually are better for lats, but you know, to save time, I'm going to do a double arm pull down. Rear delt machine. So I start with a heavy, like compound upper back row. I'll factor that in first, 1 set. I'll do 2 sets for lats because they are kind of lagging over the upper back. So then I'm left with the rear delts. Now the rear delts are getting hit from your T-bar and from your pull down, but if I do the rear delts before any of these exercises, which is a smaller muscle and is a least developed muscle, I'm going to be fatigued in that area to do these exercises efficiently. So that's why I have the rear delt machine in 3rd place. From here then, I'm going to be hitting the biceps with standing cable curls, 2 sets, and for some hamstring work I'm going to be doing the lying leg curl and some 45-degree back extensions. Now I'm going to be using the back extensions for my lower back and hamstrings, like in a kind of a compound movement. I'm not trying to grow massively or anything with them. I just want to make sure I keep my lower back bulletproof. And I have lying leg raises for my, no, that is incorrect. I have hanging leg raises here. hanging leg raises, 2 sets. Now with hanging leg raises, you are bringing your hips up to your midline. Okay, when you're bringing your hips up to your midline, you are favoring or biasing the lower portion of your abs. So remember that in the pull day, I'm biasing the lower portion of my abs. Now on the push day, now if any of you know me, I suppose my chest is my best feature, and my shoulders aren't too far away from that. So I don't need that much volume on my chest or shoulders. But because I'm only doing 1 set of each, I'm going to put them in the first position on my push day. So I'm going to do a high incline Smith machine press, followed by a pin loaded chest press. I'm not going to go from incline Smith to dumbbells or barbells, because I'm already going to be fatigued from the high incline Smith. I want something safe that I can fail on, which will be the pin loaded chest press, Cybex Eagle machine we have in the gym. And then I'm finishing off with a machine fly. 1 set of shoulders, front delts to a high degree, 1 set of chest all out and on a chest press, and 1 set of a machine fly all out. That's 3 sets of my front delts and chest, and that is over with. From there then I'm going to do a bit more volume on my triceps, because I told you I want to bring up my arms and with a frequency of 2 times a week. So I'm going to do biceps in the pull day and triceps in the push day. I have it down as behind the back lateral raises because I don't have lying Y raises, but I think I might include some lying Y raises here in my push day. And I have farmer's carry at the end, right? So in the pull day, I have training my abs with the hips coming up the center line. In my push day, I'm actually training the abs with core stability, right? I also want to use the farmer's carries to help stretch out my traps, right? Because my traps can be awfully tight. So having 2 heavy weights stretching my traps while I keep my core stable for a farmer's walk will be training the abs in a stable position. So I'm training it hips up, I'm training it stable. And on my leg day then, do I have anything else? No, on my leg day then, there's no ab work. I have seated abduction for hip stability and glute training. Seated leg curl, because I only have 1 set of each of my leg exercises, I just want to maintain my legs, maintain my strength, even get a rep here or there without trying to grow my legs, because my legs have grown quite a lot throughout this gaining phase already. So I want to shuttle my growth into my arms as opposed to my legs. So with my legs, I'll be taking a rep here and there, I'll be adding a kilo here and there to each lift, but I won't be pushing them like that I'm trying to grow my legs any further. So as you can see here, each of the leg exercises have 1 set each. So because I have 3 quad exercises in a row, your Smith machine squat, Bulgarian split squat, and pin loaded leg extension, that's 3 tough leg exercises in a row. So I've put the glutes and hamstrings first so that they can get a bit more stimulus, because they don't have as much of glute or hamstring exercises for the rest of the program. Then I have Smith machine, heels elevated Smith machine squat, heavy squat pattern. Then I have some unilateral work with the quad focused Bulgarian split squats, which do hammer my glutes in the stretch position as well. This trains my glutes in the shortened position. This will train my glutes in the stretch position. And then the leg extension will train my rectus femoris in the shortened position, which is one of the only exercises that do train that muscle in the shortened position, while my other quad exercises train the rest of my quads. Now the leg extension does train the rest of your quad muscles, but not as much as the rectus femoris, the rec fem, in the shortened position. Then I have a calf press using the leg press machine. I'm doing calf raises and then adductors, all for 1 set each, to maintain my leg muscle mass once a week, but shuttle more resources to grow my arms throughout the prep. And here we have my arm day. So for the first exercise on arm day, I have dips, and they're all 2 sets each, as you can see here. And on the pull and push day, I have 2 sets of biceps and 2 sets of triceps. So dips are first, which train the triceps in the mid-range position. Usually exercises that train the triceps in the are a muscle in the mid-range is exercises you can usually lift the most. And because I'm 86.5 kilos, I'll be able to lift 86.5 kilos with the dips, but on a tricep extension I can't lift 86.5 kilos. Now with the tricep extension on the push day, that trains the triceps in the shortened position. So I'm training the triceps in the shortened position on the push day, and I'm training them in the mid-range on the arm day. And if you look here, the easy skull crusher trains the triceps in the lengthened position. So with my program, it is more complete than most other people's programs because they have no idea what exercises train what and where. So with mine, you can see the rationale behind what I'm trying to do here. Now, with the pin-loaded preacher curl, I'm training the bicep in the shortened position, a mid to shortened position. And then with the incline cable curls, I'll be training the biceps in the lengthened position. And with the standing cable curls in my pull day, I'll be training the biceps in the mid-range position because my arms are going to be down more or less to the side of my body. So when your arms are out in front, you're training your biceps in the shortened position. When your arms are at the back, you're training with no movement through the shoulder. You're training the triceps or the biceps in the lengthened position. And then when I'm standing up and the arms are down by my side in the pull day for the standing cable curls, I'll be training the biceps in the mid-range position. So there's a rhyme to the reason here. My program is focused on getting my arms up to speed while keeping the rest of my muscle mass together while I'm doing this photoshoot prep. And I'm doing it with a very structured program that is training all ranges of the muscle groups I'm looking to improve. Now my abs are a very weak position. As you can see here, I'm doing lateral raises here again, single arm lateral raises. This is what I'm actually going to do here, single arm cuff lateral raises. The behind the back lateral raises is actually going to be Y raises, lying Y raises. But I have a cable crunch then on my arm day. So in my pull day, I have hanging leg raises, which trains the hips towards the midline. In my push day, I have a farmer's carry, which trains core stability. And then in my arms day, I have a cable crunch, which trains the trunk to midline, so the rib cage down as opposed to the hips up. So with the ab work, I'm training hips up, stability, and trunk down, which is train all three functions of the rectus abdominis. But there's also other ways you can train the ab muscles as well. You can do TVAs, which is transverse abdominis vacuums, which help pull that sheet of fascia back towards the spine, and I probably will be doing that as well on my times that I'm not training. You can do that anytime you want, and you could do oblique work as well, which I'm not going to do at this moment in time. So there you have where I started in December, where I ended up after 5 weeks of a cut, where I was after 27 weeks of a gaining phase, where I'd like to get to in a photoshoot prep. Around 76.5 is what I was when I was doing my photoshoot prep the last time. Ideally, I'd be heavier this time because hopefully I've gained enough muscle that I'll be heavier at my photoshoot. This is the calories, the macros I'm going to be using, and I'm going to change them throughout, but I'm not going to change them for quite a while because I do think these are going to continue to work. With the timeline feature, I'm going to be mapping out my rate of loss through here, which is an automatic thing. When I fill in my daily tracker, the rate of loss comes up here each week. Hopefully I'll be hitting 0.8 or 0.9 of a rate of loss each week in body fat. And if I am, there's no need for me to change any of my macros. If I'm not, if I am for the first 4 weeks, and once I do my maintenance phase and I'm not in my second 4 weeks or more, I'll have to increase the rate of loss by either adding in more activity or pulling more food out. And usually it'll probably be a combination of both over time, but I don't think I'll have to do anything for quite a while. And this is my training program. I'm doing a pull, push, legs, arms program. The reason why is because I'm trying to maintain most of my other muscles in my chest, shoulders, upper back, lats and legs, while hopefully bringing up my arms a little bit more so that when I go into this photo shoot, I'll be looking completely different than I did on my last one. And I'm after going through the rationale of why I'm training certain positions of the triceps, biceps, abs, and the rationale I have between placing exercises in certain orders in order for me to feel like I am preferentially or not preferentially training certain muscle groups. As you can see here, I'm training all my chest and shoulders at the start with one set, and then once that's done, I'll be doing more volume on the other muscles, and I do more volume at the end on my arm exercises. And the exercises are positioned in order of triceps, biceps, lateral raises and abs. So it's not triceps, triceps, biceps, biceps. It's um, my triceps are lagging more than my biceps, so I'll train them first and I'll train the biceps second. All rationale here. Now, one last thing before I go. The style of training that I actually perform is called, I suppose, a higher intensity approach. Now, intensity of effort, but also intensity in terms of weight. So if I'm lifting heavier weights and going towards failure, I'll have a higher intensity of effort. And it would be more leaning towards people like, not to the same degree, but Dorian Yates, Mike Mentzer style training. They're shorter, sharper sessions, and I do think I get a lot more out of them than I do from pussyfooting around and using reps in reserve and this type of shit. Of which I need to put the reps in reserve in on this program. It's not complete just yet. So as you can see, there's rationale behind every decision I make. I don't just copy and paste the program and give it to someone. I really think it out. This is how I deliver it on my program. This is how I do my nutrition check-in. I actually add my clients on MyFitnessPal or Chronometer or NutriCheck, and I actually check in on your nutrition as well. I don't just look at numbers each day and each week. And this is the method I'm going to be taking myself through. It's the same method I would take my clients through in order to show authenticity in the method that I actually use and to show proof that I can do it again, but doing it myself this time. And, trying to show people that it really is, I suppose, just excuses that you might have as to the reasons why you can't do stuff. And everyone has excuses, it's just that, do we use them, do we fall back on them, or do we have the excuses but never really use them? Thank you very much for watching this video. A bit of a different one today, and I will chat to you on the next one. If you're not following me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram at Shane_Russell_coaching, and that will obviously allow you to follow me a little bit more day to day, week to week across this photoshoot prep, as well as me updating YouTube videos periodically. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you the next time.